West Chicago, Illinois is a great town if you love big trains. Both freight and passenger trains pass through all day long. Today, a special passenger train is coming to town, headed by a famous locomotive from the 1940s, a Union Pacific 4664 Challenger. The Challenger is the largest working steam engine in the world, and it is the most powerful steam engine ever to be used for passenger service. The Challenger is in West Chicago to take some lucky folks on a train ride to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and back again. It's a beautiful morning. The Challenger is fired up and is slowly backing out from the siding onto the main line. Everything about a steam locomotive is fascinating, from the massive amounts of rivets to the hissing steam that seems to come pouring out from everywhere. Sounds like the steam whistle, clanging bell, and bursts of steam make you realize there's nothing in the world like a steam locomotive. The Challenger is 121 feet and 11 inches long and weighs 1,071,000 pounds, or 486 tons. The train moves slowly with crew members on the back to tell the engineer if there is a problem. The passenger cars make beautiful companions to the legendary Challenger. The familiar Union Pacific color scheme of gray and yellow with red trim has been used for decades. In the glory days of passenger service, the names of railroad cars were inspired by parts of the country the railroad would pass through, figures in history, or names of mythological characters. Some of the names sound poetic, like this car named the Portland Rose. This Challenger, number 3985, was part of an order placed by Union Pacific in 1943 to meet the demands of World War II. When diesels came along, steam locomotives were retired from service. Number 3985 was moved to a display where it deteriorated from lack of maintenance. In 1981, Union Pacific employees painstakingly restored 3985 for use on special excursion runs. The locomotive is articulated, which means it has more than one set of independently powered drivers. Drivers are the big wheels with rods and cranks connected to them. The drivers on the Challenger are 69 inches in diameter, almost 6 feet tall. The two most important crew members are the engineer, who runs the locomotive, and the fireman, who keeps the fire going in the boiler. The Challenger finally completes her trip to the main line switch. A local commuter train passes with a friendly blast of the horn, as old and new go their separate ways. The sudden rush of steam looks like a magical cloud the engine rides on. The intricate drive rods propel the drivers along the rails as the Challenger bellows a warning at the railroad crossing. These passenger cars aren't seen much anymore. Railroads used to provide both freight and passenger service, but today, most railroads haul exclusively freight. Only Amtrak carries passengers across the country. The silver trucks are bigger, with more springs than trucks on freight cars. This is to provide a smoother ride for passengers. The Challenger makes a grand entrance into West Chicago's passenger station. Even people who don't have tickets for today's excursion have come from great distances just to see the train pass by. Wherever the Challenger goes, crowds gather to see this legend in action. Those who remember the days of steam reminisce about the good old days when you would hear the mournful steam whistle of a train highballing in the night. Kids who have never seen a live steam locomotive get a chance to see history in motion. They are impressed. The lucky ticket holders board the train and the Challenger is ready to begin the journey. On straightaways, it can go as fast as 70 miles per hour. At every station, thousands of people come to greet the train. For the passengers on board, the windows are tinted green so it's easier to look out at the passing scenery. My pal Bill Tardy was one of the lucky few who got to ride the train. Bill loves big trains and toy trains. Bill, what was it like riding on that train?
I was hanging out the first baggage car, not those machinery cars, but in fact I was like probably the 9th car on the train. And I was hanging out, it's like a Dutch door, and 4 people per door, and we're hanging out. I had my goggles on, I had my hat tied on, and we're hanging out and waving. It was kind of like it was my train. It was a lot of fun. Jeff, you're only 10 years old, but you know, if you ever get a chance and your parents will allow it, I would definitely beg them, tell them you cut the grass for the next year if they take you on a steam engine.
At the end of the day, the tired Challenger arrives back in West Chicago to drop off the remaining passengers and get cleaned up and put to rest. Again, crowds of people gather to see the Challenger come through the area one last time. The locomotive crew climbs off the engine and gets ready for some final tasks before calling it a day. The train is backed into the siding. The crewmen break out the grease guns, scrubbing brushes, and rags and begin servicing the locomotive. The dirty side rods are scrubbed and wiped down. Moving parts and joints are greased and oiled so everything will be ready for more action in the morning. The Union Pacific deserves a lot of credit for maintaining such an important part of American history. It's too bad some of the other railroads didn't do the same thing.